I was wondering if you could give me a little feedback. So I've been planning the launch for this Invincible Solopreneurs community, the courses, and settled more on a concept of an initial workshop. So I'd love to host a 2-hour live workshop, but I want to make sure that it has what you need. So I'm going to ask you a few questions in this podcast. I'd love to get your feedback. I'm Larry Cornett, and this is Invincible Solopreneurs. The questions that I have in mind are in an online questionnaire format. If you go to newsletter.invinciblesolopreneurs.com, this is issue number 7, upcoming workshop for Invincible Solopreneurs. So I just want to get a little bit of feedback and get your thoughts on the agenda and the format and things like that. I am going to be launching a community that's going to be associated with this workshop. I'm going to be adding courses, guest speakers, and things like that. This is what I've been talking about doing. And I've been building that all out and testing out some different platforms. I've tried Mighty Networks, as some of you might know, and I've been a bit disappointed. A lot of people simply didn't want to use yet another app and would forget to check the app and look at notifications and things like that. So I'm going to try something a little bit different. I'm going to focus more on hosting a live workshop that you all could attend. And I'll do this most likely through Zoom, which I think most people are familiar with using. And then there's some different options I'm going to have for an optional community. So the community is not required. You could just attend the workshop. I think the community is going to be especially valuable because building a business and planning a business that you could start so that let you leave your 9-to-5 job isn't a one and done kind of thing. You don't do that in the weekend and get everything up and running and everything's magical from that day forward. No, it takes a lot of ongoing work and support. And I can tell you, it is so helpful to have a peer community, to be friends with people who are on the same journey. It's hard. It's hard to launch a business, especially a solopreneur business, and be surrounded by friends who are employed 9-to-5 jobs and they're telling you you're crazy. And there's going to be days that you feel like you are. There's going to be days that it's hard. It is. Running a business isn't easy. It's not a cakewalk. But it really does help to have friends who are doing it too. And I did that. My first business, I had a really nice peer network, and I'm still friends with those folks. And they showed me that it was possible. They encouraged me. They helped me get through the hard parts. They motivated me, inspired me when I wanted to give up. Super helpful. So let me just kind of walk through what I'd love to hear from you. And as a listener to the podcast, you can reach out to me at any time. Just, you can leave a comment. You could fill out this questionnaire. I just really want to hear from you because I want to make this useful for everyone who is planning on designing a business that could potentially support them and let them quit their job someday. So like I said, I've been planning. It's going to be a 2-hour workshop. I want to keep it simple to start. Nobody has time for an 8-hour or multi-day workshop. Although I am interested in doing some workshops in person. So having those at a physical location, and those are a little different. So I think those lend themselves well to a full day or 2-day, like a weekend workshop where we have food and dinner and drinks and things like that. It's a little bit different. So, but for an online workshop, no one wants to sit in a chair for a long day. I know. So the focus is going to be on transitioning from a 9-to-5 job to launching your solopreneur business quickly, easily, and inexpensively. I really want this to be fast and easy and cheap. I mean, that was my first business, was pretty much free to set up. I did it like in 24 hours, and it is possible. So my goal is to show you how you can define, design, and test a business concept in just a few weeks. Just a few weeks. I mean, even while you're still employed, I would love to have you generate revenue from your business, your side hustle, as soon as possible. Because a steady stream of income from your business will give you the confidence you need to leave your job someday. It'll give you the confidence you need to say goodbye to having a boss forever. I haven't had a boss in over 12 years now. And I can't even begin to tell you how good that feels. To wake up every morning and to be in complete control of my day, to decide what goes on my calendar, to only be accountable to myself and my clients, of course. But I don't have a boss. I don't have a boss, and I don't miss it. I don't ever want to have a boss again. Maybe you feel the same way. I hope you do. I hope that's why you're subscribed to this podcast. So I want to focus on the core essentials you need to create a simple and effective business based on what you already know and can do well. That's the point. That's why I called it Employee to Solopreneur. I don't know. If you have the time and you want to raise money and you want to take out a big loan, maybe you feel like you could learn something entirely new. Maybe you feel like you have time to invest many months or years learning a skill or getting the experience you need to launch a business that you have absolutely no experience with, right? I know people do it. Many of them fail. I know somebody who worked in tech, launched a restaurant business, and it was okay for maybe the first year, and then they shut down. You know, it's hard. If you don't know what you're doing it while you're hemorrhaging money is pretty expensive. It's a costly mistake. So that's the whole point. There's something you already know how to do really well. You have tons of experience with. You're very talented and skilled at it. You probably have some connections. You have a strong network, and that's what you've been doing for your job for many, many years. And so the whole idea is like, how can you take that skill set and that experience and pivot that into a business? That is the fastest way to get something up and running and making money. And I'm not going to overload the 2-hour session because I don't want to overwhelm anyone. I've had some workshops like that where it covers so much information so quickly. I just felt like I didn't learn anything. I felt like I was completely overloaded. And the thing is, I'm always here. My newsletter is always available, newsletter.invinciblesolopreneurs.com. This podcast is always going to be here. I'm always available. And my solopreneur community will be available later for people who want to keep going, who want to keep engaging. They want to learn more. You want to get feedback. You want to get feedback as you're building and growing your business. So the workshop doesn't have to be the end all be all. It's just enough to get started. And that's okay. We can start with the basics and then we can expand on specific details and more advanced topics later. Running a business is a multi-year or even a lifetime adventure. You don't have to get it all figured out in day one. You can learn as you go. So I'm going to talk through some of these questions. Like I said, please leave a comment, respond to me, tell me what you'd like to see in a workshop like this. So let's talk about the format. Like I said, I've attended, quote, talking head workshops before, and that's that pure lecture format with an instructor. And they're talking, explaining, going through slides, whatever, but there's really no interaction. It's okay. I mean, I have learned new things in that kind of format, but I've always preferred more active workshops. I want time for discussions with each other, with the instructor. I want time for Q&A. because that gets to the specifics of what you're trying to do. So that's what I want for this workshop. I want you to engage. I want you to talk with me. I want you to talk with the other attendees. I want you to ask questions. And that's why I'm planning this as a workshop instead of a webinar or a lecture or an online course, right? This is a hands-on workshop. So how do you feel about that? How do you feel about a workshop? What is your preferred format? And these are the 5 questions I had in this poll online. What would you prefer for our workshop session? Number 1, an educational presentation only. So that would be me going through slides, explaining how to do things. I'm going to be creating a workbook that you can use to kind of fill in, but it would be me walking through everything and just kind of doing the talking head style. Number 2 would be that style. So me presenting, going through the material, all the educational content, but leaving time at the end for some Q&A. So it'd be time for you to ask me a question. We'll do a little question and answer session at the end of the workshop. The third option is for me to do a mix of presenting material, but then having breakout sessions. And so we would talk about a concept or a topic, break out into small groups and work on stuff for a little bit, and then come back together and discuss it. Like, what is the outcome of your working breakout session? And I've done these before. I shouldn't bias you. I'm not going to say anything. Number 4, again, presenting. So I'd present the material. We'd have the breakout sessions, and then also leave time for Q&A at the end. So that'd be a whole bunch of different stuff that I'm going to present and talk about. A few breakout sessions, coming back together and discussing, and still leaving some time at the end for some specific Q&A for things that you feel like didn't get covered, or you have a question that's a burning question. And then number 5 is just, what is your preference? If you're going to attend a workshop on being a solopreneur, designing and building a business while you're still an employee, getting all that ready and being able to test it in a short amount of time, how would you prefer to learn about that? What is your preference? You can leave me a comment, send me a message. I'd love to hear it. Okay, now I want to go into the proposed agenda. And this is rough. This is kind of my thoughts. It's what I'm thinking, but I'd love to hear what you specifically would like to see, what you'd like to learn, because that's going to help me a lot. Let me go ahead and start. I have 10 items on the agenda. Number 1, transforming your current expertise into a business model and plan. So starting off with, what is it that you currently do for a living? What's your profession? What's your job? What do you feel like you have a lot of experience doing? Your skill set, your knowledge, all that stuff. Maybe you have educational training. I don't know. But what is it? And then how can we pivot that into a business model? How do we take what you're doing and put it into a business model and a plan? And that's what I did with my first solopreneur business. My current job, my expertise was a software designer. That's what I did. And when I designed my business and launched it, it was pretty straightforward. It was taking that and offering it through my own solopreneurial design agency. So I was a software designer as a consultant, mostly for startups, some other established businesses, but same. It was like a 1-to-1, working with your team to get the requirements, designing concepts, validation, usability testing, refinement, building prototypes, writing a specification for engineering. I did all that stuff as an employee. That is exactly what I did as an employee at Apple, for example. But now, this was a business that I offered to a company, and they hired me as a consultant. So my business model was, you need this software design work to be done to partner with your engineering team. Here's what I'm going to charge for it. Here's how I'm going to work with you. So that's what we want to do in that first part of the agenda. And so the second thing, part 2, would be a breakout session. So this would be breaking into small groups and working, bouncing ideas off each other, because I can't meet with everybody individually in the workshop, and talking about your business concept. So describe it in a couple of sentences, see how people react to it. Does it make sense? Are people like, wow, that's great. Absolutely. I could see somebody paying for that. I would pay for that. Or are they confused? They're like, how does that work as a business? Here are some things we're thinking. So maybe they give you some feedback about how to make it into a better business model and plan. And then we'll come back together and we'll have some people share. Share out and say, okay, what did you learn? What did you propose to the people in your breakout session for your business? Number 3 is building the simplest website possible. Now, maybe you already have a website. Maybe you're already really good at building websites. You have a WordPress site, you have a Wix site, you have a Squarespace. I don't know. Maybe you're an engineer and it's all been hand coded. But I want this to be as simple as possible, to basically be kind of a landing page for your business. Easy way to test your marketing and sales message. Easy way for people to get in touch with you. But it's really quick and dirty and cheap, because you are doing this as a lean method. If you've heard of the lean startup, you're just trying to get something up so that people can find you and work with you. Number 4, speaking of, qualifying those interested leads with discovery calls. So very rarely is somebody going to go to your website, click a button, and hire you, and you're going to want to work with them sight unseen. No conversation, right? Unless you're selling a digital product or something like that. But this is about turning your current job into a business. So it's very different than selling products or opening a bakery or something like that. This is a lot of the strategy that I use for my current business. People read about me on my website, or they'll read an article or a newsletter and they want to talk with me. And so there's a way for them to get in touch with me, to set up a call, and we have what I call a discovery call. And this is also starting to touch on sales in a way that I think is a lot more palatable for most people who aren't salespeople. So we're going to talk about that. How do you talk to these people? How do you have that call? How do you convert people into working with you? And number 5 is writing that proposal. So you have somebody who's interested, you have the call, they're like, yes, I want to work with you. I like what you're offering. Putting a proposal together for that client. So this is going to talk about, what is the service you're going to provide? What outcome are you promising? How are you going to price that, etc. And then 6, related to that, will be another breakout session. So you're going to meet, talk with a few folks about different service models. So are you going to have hourly work? You're going to do project-based work? You're going to do a fixed bid? Are you going to do a retainer model? There's all kinds of different ways, and I've used all kinds of different pricing and service models, and talking about pricing strategies. So I want you to break out, talk with folks, because everybody has experienced this in different ways and has different information, different backgrounds that could be useful to help each other, and then come back and we'll talk together. We'll do a share out. And then number 7, setting up the purchase and payment flows. So that's important. Somebody's interested in working with you. They've agreed to your proposal, your model, the pricing. Now you got to get them to pay. So how do you do that? There are various services that provide this. We're going to talk about that. Talk about integrating that stuff with your simple website. Number 8, going to touch on consulting agreements and contracts. So how do you write those? And it's usually a good idea to do this. So there's complete agreement and understanding between you and your customer, your client, about what you're going to do, when you're going to do it, what you're going to charge, how you're going to negotiate issues if something goes wrong. It's all good to have in writing. It's just a good idea. Number 9 is then doing the work. So how do you actually work with your customers to deliver the value you promised? And there are a variety of tools available now, online tools, services, ways that I work with my clients, ways that other people have worked with their clients, and we want to talk through that. I'm going to share some of those ideas and give you some ideas about how you can do that for this business model and plan that you have. And then 10 is kind of closing the loop, but how important it is to ask for testimonials from your customers, your happy clients, to get referrals so they send new business your way. This is the lifeblood for a solopreneur. Marketing and advertising in particular, it gets expensive. You're spending a lot of money. Nothing better than a happy client sending people your way. I'm so thrilled when my clients send me, referrals, because then it's kind of, they're vouching for both me and for that person, right? They think we're a good fit. They think they'd be a good client for me, and they're telling this person I'd be a good career coach or leadership coach for them. So I want to talk about how you can ask for these. I know it might seem uncomfortable. People seem to have a hard time for this, and I get it. I think I did in the beginning too. But how to structure that request, where to share your testimonials, how to handle referrals, all that kind of stuff. And then at the end would be some time for Q&A. So being able to ask questions about anything that went on during the workshop, have a discussion about this. And that's kind of it. That's the agenda. So what are your thoughts on the agenda? Would you be interested in this type of workshop about how to design and define and test a solopreneur business? That 10-part agenda. I'd love to hear if you think, yes, this is definitely a good agenda. I'm interested. I'd love to attend this, 2 hours of my life, not too much. Or you could say, well, it depends. It depends. I have some questions, or I have some things I'd like to adjust. Or maybe the answer is no. You're like, no. This isn't anything that I'm interested in. And I'd still love to hear from you why. What is missing? What are you hoping that you would get from this kind of workshop that would make you say yes? So if you go to newsletter.invinciblesolopreneurs.com, you can answer this poll. You could leave a comment. But I'd love to hear what you think is missing, what you would like me to include in a workshop like this, anything you'd like me to remove. It's like, oh, I don't think I need that part. What would you want me to change? I really do want to make this workshop useful. I want to make it valuable. And it's hard for me to do that in a vacuum without hearing from people like you. So if you're listening right now, you are interested in becoming a solopreneur, or you're interested in accelerating your business, you're having issues with your business, this is all valid. This is all useful. Let me know. Share your thoughts. Reach out to me. All right. Let's talk about kind of the last question that I have. These are the options I'm considering offering for the workshop. So if you sign up for the workshop, and everybody that's listening in the newsletter, folks that are subscribed, are going to get a huge discount, because this is kind of a beta test of the first launch of the workshop, the very first one. Number 1 would be workshop only. So you just want to attend only the 2-hour workshop. That's it. And that's the lowest cost option, most affordable. Just join the workshop, learn, ask questions, move on and get going. Go start your business, go figure it out. The second option would be to have the workshop and bundle an hour of one-on-one business coaching with me. So you attend the workshop, you'll learn a bunch of stuff, and you still want to work through some of the specifics. You want to work through your plan, your strategy, you have some questions, and you want some private one-on-one conversations with me about your business. You want to keep it confidential. You just want to talk with me alone. That's number 2. Number 3 is attend the workshop and bundle with that a monthly membership in my private solopreneur community. So when I launch the workshop, I'm also launching the private community. This is that peer group that I think is so valuable. And I want to make it private and exclusive because I don't want it just anyone showing up. I want people who are committed. I want people who are actually trying to build and design a business, that are running a business. I don't want a bunch of people in there that don't really care and aren't really running a business, because what's the point? They're not really helping each other. You want people who are in the trenches doing it too. So this would be the workshop plus a monthly subscription to be part of the community. And then the fourth thing I'm looking at doing, which I think is interesting, is the workshop plus a bundle of a lifetime membership in the solopreneur community. So this is a set it and forget it. I've done this with a business community that I've joined. I mean, I do this too. I get business coaching. I have a business community that I'm a part of. You should never be trying to do this alone. It's hard. It gets lonely. It's really helpful to have people to talk with. And it's also really cool to be able to help other people. I've been doing this for 12 years, over 12 years. And so when somebody brand new is trying to figure out what to do with their business and how to deal with a customer, I've been there. I've done that. So it's fun to be able to answer questions and help people. So this would be a lifetime membership. You pay once and never have to worry about it again. I kind of like that. That's what I did. So you attend the workshop and then you go right into the community and you start building your business and getting support. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. What are your thoughts? How do you feel about these options? Which ones do you find most interesting? If you want just the workshop, you want some coaching too, you want to try a monthly membership, or you're already saying, yeah, a lifetime membership. If it's a good deal, sure, get it done. I should make a note of this too. So if and when you join the community, that community membership gives you access to replays of the workshops. So I'm going to record everything on video and have it stored somewhere for private access. And the community members can go and replay those and kind of go back through it again, in case they missed something. Maybe they couldn't attend a workshop and they want to see the replay. There's going to be other topics I'd love to go into to cover, like, for example, stuff around business formation or legal issues, you name it. How do you get a patent? How do you apply for a trademark, which I've done. I have a trademark on Invincible Career. So you'd have discounts on future workshops. There'd also be some free sessions too. So I want to bring various domain experts into the community to have a video chat session, like a fireside chat. Those would be free. Somebody who's a podcasting expert. I know somebody who's a newsletter expert. Somebody that's really great at sales. Somebody that's really great at marketing. You name it. All kinds of stuff. So that would be all part of being in the community. So let me know what is most interesting to you. Only attending the workshop, workshop plus coaching, workshop plus a monthly membership, or workshop plus a lifetime membership. Just trying to judge what you want, what the community wants, what I should make available. So if you do take the time to respond, send me a message, thanks. I really do appreciate it. Your input, your feedback, it will help me create a better workshop that meets your needs. That's the whole point of this. And I'm excited. I love teaching workshops. I've been doing this for a long time. It's fun and it's inspiring. I love helping people build stuff. And by the way, if you have a friend who might be interested, so maybe you're like, yeah, I got this all figured out. I don't need to go to a workshop. But you have a friend who's thinking about owning their own business someday, starting a business someday. Maybe they'd be interested. So feel free to send them a link to this podcast episode. Feel free to share the article, the newsletter article, because that has the details and the poll questions. They go to newsletter.invinciblesolopreneurs.com. This is upcoming workshop for Invincible Solopreneurs, issue number 7. I'd appreciate that. That'd be great. And this will probably be the last podcast episode of the year for 2022. So I hope that you're going to be able to take some time off at the end of the year to enjoy a little bit of time with friends and family, enjoy the holidays, take a well-deserved vacation and rest. Enjoy. Take care of yourself, and I'll talk to you next year. Until next time, I wish you the best of luck with building the business of your dreams.